with your Monday, October 3rd evening newscast. My name is Joshua Van Slykeman. Good evening. Speaking on renegotiation and getting more value from his country's resources, Trinidadian Prime Minister Dr. Kaieteur Radio is quoted as saying there is a willingness not to treat contracts as cast in stone, so that while contracts bind us in terms and conditions, if the conditions have changed so dramatically and so detrimentally, then the reopening of renegotiation of contract is a reasonable demand for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, end quote. Here in Guyana, the leaders have taken the position that the 2016 PSA the country has with ExxonMobil and its partners will not be changed to maintain the quote-unquote sanctity of contract. But various experts have clarified that the lopsided contract can be changed. Most recently, international lawyer Melinda Janke weighed in on the government's position on the deal, explaining that the sanctity of contract term does not mean that renegotiation is impossible. Only yesterday reported that both the former and present governments have been misusing the sanctity of contract doctrine to avoid renegotiating the lopsided deal. And meanwhile, based on interactions with international watchdog agencies, local transparency group Article 13 says it is becoming increasingly obvious to anti-corruption advocates and other stakeholders that U.S. oil major ExxonMobil is calling the shots when it comes to Guyana's lucrative oil finds in the offshore Stabroek Block. Given the government's continued resistance towards renegotiating the lopsided 2016 PSA it has with ESSO, the body says stakeholders are also beginning to think that the government is deliberately supporting this unfavorable agreement in return for the oil companies. Supporting and maintaining political power, Article 13 founder Dr. Yoke Mahadio said that the situation in Guyana continues to be viewed from all sides, with the discussion now increasing as to why the Guyana government is not seeking more from its oil contract. In other news, opposition member of parliament Royce Ford has slammed the intervention of Director of Public Prosecution Chalamir Ali Haq into the Dion Bascom case, with her latest call for the magistrate to be removed. Ford, the Shadow Attorney General, said that the DPP's request to the Chancellor of the Judiciary is a quote-unquote blow to the heart of justice. That should not be allowed. On Wednesday, Senior Magistrate Leron Daly ordered that Police Legal Advisor and Special Prosecutor Mandel Moore be placed in custody after he repeatedly failed to produce requested evidence in the cybercrime case against Bascom. The DPP said that while she recognizes that the magistrate does not appear to have a personal interest in the matter, her conduct thus far constitutes a sufficient reason for the Chancellor to exercise her power and assign the matter to another magistrate. MP Ford contended that citizens should be concerned over the DPP's intervention, which puts a risk at basic constitutional right to a fair trial in a court of law. Finally, at this time, as farmers complain about being handled in an inconsiderate proposal from the government to take over a fraction of their land to facilitate a natural gas pipeline that will run from Nowell, Flanders to Wales on the west bank of Demerara, Shadow Oil and Gas Minister David Patterson is arguing that the government's valuation approach is incorrect and does not factor in the losses farmers will face from not being able to use their lands. Patterson said the PPP has craftily approached the National Assembly to make changes to the legislation which would allow them to take over lands whether the property owner agreed or not. And that's the news to the moment.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories